I'm Matt Coatney, and man, am I happy to get a chance to talk to Dr. Jeff Gold again this season. Welcome back to the President's Halftime Show with the University of Nebraska President. We'll be catching up each week on what's happening across the University of President Gold. Let's start by talking about last week's win at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. You were there in person. What were some of your favorite moments last week in Kansas City?
Well, obviously a win is a win, and it was just an exciting experience to be there. But to be there with 72,000 people, over 90% of which were Nebraska fans, you know, they say that's one of the loudest stadiums, if not the loudest stadium in the NFL. I got to tell you, I was down on the field for a good part of the game, and I was closer than I am to you, which is just 1.5 or 2 feet, and you couldn't talk to anybody. It was so loud. It was deafening. But I'll tell you, the fan experience, you couldn't beat it.
And I hear you held a very special event this past week at the Nebraska State Capitol, packed house. Can you talk about the State of the University address and some of the highlights?
Yeah, so this was, you know, to the best of my knowledge, and we look back through all the history books, the first time that the president of the University of Nebraska system actually delivered a State of the University address. There have been State of the Campus addresses, but we did this in the state capitol in the rotunda. We had just about 300 people present, over 1,200 online, and the response has been just absolutely amazing. You know, this was an opportunity for me to pull together my reflections on the first year of being the president of the University of Nebraska, to call out great discoveries in healthcare, in agriculture, tremendous amount of work actually in athletics. I recognized the University of Nebraska-Kearney wrestling team for the Division II championship. And of course, I had to recognize Danny Busboom Kelly for coming back to Nebraska. Of course, we had just had that reverse sweep in Nashville, which was just absolutely incredible. And, you know, just last night, I was at the John Cook Arena and had the opportunity to see them sweep again. So this is going to be a great year for volleyball as well, and we're not doing too badly here this evening.
33-0 Nebraska leads Akron at the half. I'm Matt Coatney, and welcome to the President's Halftime Show. We're visiting with University of Nebraska President Jeff Gold. Dr. Gold, you know I'm big about statistics. I'm going to talk about statistics here in just a little bit, but one of the metrics that is important to NU's future is enrollment, and I know that enrollment numbers are going to be released on Monday. Is there anything you can share with us about what that looks like for fall 2025?
Well, sure. Well, I've had a preliminary look at it. We'll see what the exact numbers are tomorrow morning. It looks like we're about even year over year. We're down a little bit in Kearney. We're actually up in Curtis at NCTA, significantly up at the Med Center. But, you know, given the fact that the total number of international students because of travel restrictions is well down, and given the fact that the number of graduate students, and, you know, this is something the audience might not appreciate, but when the Grad Plus loans were eliminated by the Department of Education, that meant that there was no way for graduate students in the United States to afford to get that graduate degree. And these are young men, women and young men who have their bachelor's degree, who are working in either research or journalism or entertainment or in so many different areas that want that master's or that doctoral degree and depend on those Grad Plus loans. So all in all, I would say the news isn't great, but it couldn't have been a whole lot worse.
President Gold, the start of a new school year certainly reminds me that educating students is critical to the future of the state. Maybe you could talk about how the university students directly impact workforce in our economy.
Well, there's no question that we are the largest producer of workforce in the state of Nebraska. You know, last May we graduated, I guess year-long, over 11,000 individuals with either a bachelor's or a graduate degree. And the overwhelming majority of them do stay in the state. Now, some will go out, but frankly, many of those that go out will ultimately come back. You know, and as I crisscross the state, you know, I spent a couple of weeks in July literally going from border to border, ended up in Chadron and Alliance and Scottsbluff, really just 29 different stops across the state. And I always ask them the same question. What are the top 3 things the university could do for your community? And the answer is workforce, workforce, and workforce. And by the way, Jeff, if you're not listening, it's workforce.
Very good. Well, President Gold, it's always great catching up with you during halftime. Before we send it back to the game, any other thoughts you'd like to share with Husker Nation?
Sure, I do have an important point for you, Matt, and for the audience, and I'm going to hit on this almost every time we're together. And that is, one more time this year, we're involved in the We Give Blood campaign. And as you know, last year we won that. We won it by a big margin, and I had the pleasure of being in Indianapolis with our students and received a gigantic check for $1 million for student services. So I just looked at the numbers as of tonight, and we are number 2. We are not number 1 where we were last year. And there's a small institution in Madison, Wisconsin that is just a little bit ahead of us. So listen, Husker fans, if you're out there and you're going to give blood or you're thinking about it, please do it, and please recognize the University of Nebraska as a Big Ten partner in the We Give Blood campaign, and we're going to win this one too.
I have great confidence. President Jeff Gold, thank you for the time. Always a pleasure talking to you. Matt Coatney with the president of the University of Nebraska, Dr. Jeff Gold.